Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to play around with more colorful makeup, and I have customized this palette from Essence, and I just purchased a bunch of colorful shades that I don't have in my collection. So I have been wanting to look for a good yellow eyeshadow, but then again I could not find any palette that I really love. So luckily enough, Essence has got their new collection out, and these three shadows are from their Mermaid collection, I believe. So it's more like holographic and satin, and I have this matte yellow eyeshadow shade which is perfect. So without further ado, let's hop right into the video. I don't have anything in mind at the moment, and I do apologize about my skin because I did a trial on a facial cleanser, but it didn't really work quite well on my skin. That's why I have a lot of breakout. So that's what's happening with me at the moment. And also I've already applied my Australia Strobe Jelly. That's why my face is a little bit shiny. So to prime my face, I am going to start with this e.l.f. Poreless face primer, and then we'll move on to the eyes because I want the primer to really sink into my face before I apply foundation. I really wanted to play with this aqua eyeshadow right here, which has a little bit of holographic happening, and it's quite pigmented, as you can see right there, and it pulls off a little bit of green and yellow undertone to it, which I thought is pretty good. So to start our base, I'm going to prime with the A2O concealer as usual, and this one is in the shade yellow. This is actually the Corrector. I like to use it as a primer because it really conceals my dark circles as well as lays a good base on the face, as opposed to using it as a concealer because it is quite thick for the face. Since the eyeshadow palette that we're using doesn't have any transition shade or to set the eyes, I'm going to dive into the Shaanxo the Remix palette. So I'm mainly going to use this as my transition color shades, and then we'll dive into the palette from Essence. So to set all over the eyes, I am going to use this shade right here called Clarity. So it's a nice beige eyeshadow. So for transition shade, I'm going to start off with Terracotta right here because I want a warm transition shade. With a tighter brush, I am going to dive into this shade right here called Vampette, which is a somewhat red purple shade with a tinge of purple undertone, if that's how you describe it. So I'm going to go to the inner part and the outer part of the eyes. And I am going to go and use the shade right here called Vampette to deepen up the eyes, but I'm going to use a more tighter brush. That way we can control how much we use. And I'm going back to the shade called Stalker to just blend everything. And I want a little bit of gradient on the transition, so I'm going to go and use the shade right here called Bestie to blend everything just on the top. So now that we have a solid base, I am actually going to use an eyeshadow stick, and this one is from NYX, and this is the Glam Shadow Stick in the shade, doesn't have a shade name, but it's this emerald aqua green. So I'm going to pop that in the middle, warm that with our finger. And then I am going to grab a small flat brush and start packing this color in the middle where we applied the shadow stick. Ooh, girl. I'm going to dip into this lilac shade as well and pop that on the inner part. Doesn't necessarily go with the look. So what I'm going to do is to actually use this palette right here from For You Too and use this shade right here once again to kind of blend that to make it pop. So this has got a blue. And then I am going to grab a smaller brush and dip into the shade right here so I can blend the outer bit. So I added a little bit of this blue and purple in here, just on the inner part and the outer part. And then I dabbed a little bit of this blue shade and this very light aqua shade just around the inner part and also the outer part of the eyes, just so we can blend it together. So this is what the eyes are looking like. It's very pretty, but I want to add a little bit of something into it, so I might actually go and use this yellow shade right here and kind of apply that on top, because I don't know, I reckon it will pull it off since our look has got a little bit of yellow to it. So just on top, I think that will do. So we kind of just outlined the top bit of the eyes, and I am going to go back in this purple shade right here and apply that on the inner part of the eyes. And then I'm just gonna quickly apply some mascara. I wanted to apply some false lashes, but I could not find my eyelash glue. So for foundation today, I am going to use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation because I want a full coverage and flawless look. For concealer, I am going to go back and use my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, and this one is in the shade NC35, and I'm running out of this stuff. I'm just trying to finish it off. To set my under eye, I'm going to use this Ben Nye Banana Powder. I am not going to bake or anything like that. I'm just gonna go and pack this on and then brush it off straight away. For the rest of my face, I am going to set it with the MAC Studio Fix Powder because I want a little bit of coverage on my jaw area since that's where my breakouts are. And we'll dust away the powder. For highlight and contour, I'm going to use my well-loved Wet n Wild Contour Palette. And I am going to clean up with the yellow shade around my jaw area. And for contour slash bronzer, the same palette. I swear I need a bigger table to do my stuff. And for blush today, I am going to go back and use my Melba blush, which is well loved. It's actually broken. It's a nice corally shade that just goes with any look. For highlight today, I'm going to use this A2O highlight palette, and this one I forgot the shade because it comes in those packaging that, you know, has the shade name instead of them putting it into the actual packaging. This highlighter is a little bit glittery, but that's okay because we're going for a somewhat mermaid look. I want a little bit of something, so I am actually going to mix this shade right here and the white shade so the look can make sense. And for the lower lash line, I am going to use the shade Vampette as a base shade for the lower lash line, and then we'll put the colorful shades on top so it will pop a little bit more. I am going to use the shade that we use on the lid, which is right there, and I'm going to put that underneath the lower lash line, just like that. So basically in the middle. I am going to go back to this palette right here from 4U2 and use the vibrant shade right there and focus that on the inner part. And I'm going to go and use this blue shade right here on the outer V. And for the actual highlight in the inner corner, I want to use this yellow shade right here to make it pop. And add a little bit of this peachy shade right here on top of the yellow. And for brow bone highlight, I am going to go back to the Shaanxo palette. And I am going to go and use this shade right here called Glam Glow. For lips today, I am going to line my lips with this Jordana lip liner in Mahogany, and then I am going to put this Shiseido Ultra Matte Liquid Lip in the shade Simply Nude, and on top of that, I am going to pop in this Witchery lip gloss, because applying lipstick while talking, it's not a skill that I have. And my lips are a little bit dry at the moment. I want to insert a little bit of something, so I am going to maybe use this shade right here, which is a little bit of lilac, and I'm going to pop that on my lips. And finally, we're all done with this final look. So here is the makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and actually this Essence palette is very pigmented for the price you pay. Each individual eyeshadows are only $3 New Zealand plus the palette, which is $3, and you could pretty much customize any eyeshadows that you want. Here are the swatches of the shades that I picked, and honestly all of them are very pretty, very nice. Please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more updates, and I will for sure do more colorful looks, so stay tuned. I will catch you on my next video. Bye.